Welcome to the Texas Go Radio Show. This is part one of the 1999 live stream by Owen Benjamin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another live stream. Today we're going to talk about the exploitation of the wealthy. I know that sounds a little unusual. We live in a world with people that have signs like this that say, hungry, eat the rich. Even though the quote-unquote rich and wealthy made him his clothes and provided him the infrastructure and all that stuff. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the passion of the rich, the passion of the wealthy. You know, like what problems do they face? And I have legitimate insider knowledge to the richest people in the world, you know, and I'm not a gossip. I don't actually spill beans unless it's what I think may be a crime or
Okay, so this is an attempt of Owen. The thing is, the majority of people do not ever meet the wealthiest people in the world. We don't even know their names. I'm talking about people that are so wealthy that money doesn't even matter. It's not even a thought. And I would almost guarantee you that Owen Benjamin does not know them personally. This is him attempting to be the special boy of knowing something that nobody else could possibly know. Hardly anyone worth their salt would be associated with Owen Benjamin at this point.
You know, if I'm defending myself, someone makes a claim against me, I'll spill all kinds of beans. But I'm not a gossip, so, you know, I'm not going to
tell that to Gavin. all he did was try to do what he does. And Owen couldn't help but spill the beans on that. Couldn't help but gossip.
Talk about how I know things or who people are or anything. I'm just going to tell you what I've learned so that you can better understand it. Because the gravy is great, but gossip isn't really helpful. But what is helpful is understanding the nature of something. The nature of, even if, whether it's something you consider an enemy or something you admire, understanding the nature of it, what its motivations are, is very important. Like, for example, the nature of a groundhog or a vole. That's something that I found very interesting as I try to kill them. What do they like? What do they dream about? When do they sleep? What are they drawn to? What do they not like? Did you know there's certain types of flowers that gophers and voles hate? I can't remember what they were called. Chrysanthemums? I don't know, but you can plant flowers around a tree and they hate them. It's interesting. They're the most ravenous in the winter. They'll eat anything, including the bark of a young fruit tree, which is why I'm attempting to continuously kill them. So when I want to know about the lives of the rich, I want to know so I can better understand them and predict them, understand their rules, so that I, my friends, my family can thrive inside the system. Today we'll talk about, right up into the Rothschilds and all that. But I also want to focus a lot on France and how France has exploited the rich a lot and how American companies are significant. Oh, marigolds. Is it really? Narcissus? Shoot them in the bunny ears? No, we kill a lot of them. Just watch Caddyshack. Yeah. And so I don't know if you guys would find this topic interesting, but I'm pretty tapped out of politics. I know that people are very interested in it. I made my case yesterday. If you want to watch that stream, I think it's episode 1998. Great year. Year I graduated high school.
Made his case for what? What is he talking about? I just finished that entire live stream and it was one of the longest, one of the most bizarre, one of the most telling of what Owen Benjamin really is, and didn't make a case for anything at all.
Cool. And I do feel sometimes like I'm talking to adults who are looking at their chimney for Santa Claus to come down, and that's fine. But I just wrote to Alex Jones, I said, what if the bullet that was meant for Trump actually hit Biden? Q predicted it when he said, hold tight to what you know, but loosely to what you unknow. Movies are life. Life is a movie. Hey, Alex Jones, look into the deep state missing Trump, and Trump's chosen blood was enough lube to pass through Biden's diaper. Patriots in control, hold tight, help is on the way. Pure vitality erections. But I'm not getting...
That means absolutely nothing. What he just said is meaningless. Hogwash. Horse hockey. He's been losing his mind for a long time, but now I really have no idea what he's talking about.
Involved at all. I'm not going to even say opinions, or I'm going to do a couple jokes here and there, but daffodils and paper whites.
Okay, so
they're narcissus flower, and deer and rodents hate them. Yeah, they hate that. What brands of alcohol do groundhogs? All right, so yeah, exactly. I got to give them some alcohol and some pornography. So I want to talk today about the exploitation of the rich and how the rich are exploited. Because everyone talks about the exploitation of the poor. These poor people. Right? The poor, how sad they are, how everyone just exploits them. What exactly do people exploit the poor with? Right? What are they used for? I'll check the chat. Like, what exactly are people using the poor for? Because anyone who does labor isn't poor. I mean, you might not have much, but if you contribute to society with a job or you're doing any labor, I mean, you know, you're doing pretty good.
You're wealthier than Owen, that's for sure, because he doesn't do anything except for literally e-beg. He begs on the internet. That's all he does. That's literally all he does. He does not contribute to anything. The only reason why I do these videos is because he has just enough. He did just enough in Hollywood to have some form of a Googleable name. And so whenever somebody comes across this guy who, if you're a rock skipping over the surface of Beartaria, just every once in a while, just looking in, especially used to. Now, I don't know. I have no idea. I just know too much about Owen and the whole situation to be entertained or think that he's funny whatsoever, just because of everything that he's done. And so he's got just enough of a name to where somebody can just glance in, see the crazy things that he's saying, think that he's kind of funny, and be like, oh, okay, he's different. I'll give him some money. And he counts on people like that. He has to have that new trickle in, because if that stops, the whole thing stops. Because current bears are walking away probably once a week, once a month. I don't know. There's been a couple of mass fallings away, exodus. But, yeah.
Not what I consider poor. Like destitute people. I don't think are exploited that much. I think the working class, low wage people can be exploited by rates of credit cards, rates of debt, because they give them really high rates and stuff like that. It's a bummer, but it's like, you know, I don't know. I think a lot of the rich are used even more. Groundhogs die when these plastic rub worms you can get at the farm store. I like that. But couldn't that kill the birds too, though? I like to keep it pretty specific. The poor are used to tax actual workers. They are catered to the most. Yeah. That's
whenever Owen says something retarded, you just gotta remember he's a thorn in the side of truth. And he is what is that? What is Milo? He is a provocateur. Owen is a provocateur. That's all he is. That's literally all he is. There's no substance to him. And so whenever he says something that that it would kind of piss you off, just remember that he's an idiot, that he's a dum-dum, that he's a moron. And the only point of these videos is to show that he is a dangerous predatorial cult leader.
I'd say the poor are the most catered to. You know, they're not used or they're not. Think about rich people and how they have to manage their life. They have to pay a ton of money just to be around other rich people so they don't get used. Like if you're a very wealthy person, every conversation you have, every act of kindness you get, it's logical to assume someone's trying to use and exploit you. Poor people, that's not the case. Someone gives you something, someone says something nice to you. That's genuine. I mean, why would anyone do that? There's nothing you could give them, right? So you actually live a much more honest life. Like when someone says something to you, it's pretty true. Like the poor actually get to have a more obvious and honest life. Because why would anyone lie to you? There's nothing they could get from you. You know?
He's a fucking idiot. Notice what he's doing right now. He's talking as though he started this episode off by him saying that he knows the wealthiest people and that he's not going to tell you who or anything like that because he's not a gossiper, because he doesn't spill beans. And then he goes into other stuff, talking about groundhogs and all that kind of crap. And then he goes into the whole poor people aren't exploited, but wealthy people are. But listen to how he's talking. He's saying you whenever he's talking to poor people. Talking about poor people. You don't have nothing to complain about. This reminds me of him sitting on him laying on his hammock during the days of the original land investment scam. He's laying on his hammock almost like Scrooge McDuck, laying on his pile of gold. And he says, I'm almost jealous of you guys. Like, all you got to do is just give me your money. Like, I got to deal with all the legal work. And then a mosquito bites him on his face and he hits himself.
And if you have the ability of listening to this right now, I don't consider you poor. And I know there's a lot of must be nices happening in the world, but if you have access to the internet, entertainment, you have earphones, you have the education level to understand what I'm saying, I'm not talking about you. You know, you can be...
He is talking about you. Whenever he's saying poor people, he's saying you. There's no denying that. No matter what he double speaks.
Used, but the wealthy get used the most. Like, here's a couple other things I wrote about. And they're degraded and undermined all the time. Like, think about how nuts it is that this sign exists. You know, and you see it everywhere. Eat the rich. Screw the rich. The 1%. Fuck them. Awful people. We need to take them down. When in fact, they're providing a tremendous service to society. You know, some of them you could say have parasitic jobs, but they still have a job that they still provide something that people want, or else they wouldn't do it. My cartel bros would differ. People don't really care when the poor go missing, but them damn rich people cry and have money. I mean, you're more likely to be killed. I didn't say that poor people don't get killed more. They have less access to good healthcare. I'm saying, just really listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah, don't try to pick apart what he's saying. Just try to listen. Trust me, guys. Trust me. I know more about everything than y'all do. That's why y'all are on the other side of this, and I'm the one that's in front of the camera and the microphone. Like, you mean they die more? Come on, that's not exploitation. Sure, they die, but are they exploited? Just shut up and listen. Whenever I ask a question, do you not know by now I don't want you to answer unless you're agreeing with me?
Okay? What I'm saying doesn't mean I mean something else. So when I say they're less likely to be exploited, okay, take that for example. Perfect example, Bear for All Seasons. Who's more likely to be kidnapped, a poor person or a rich person? You're Mexican. Why don't you tell the class, who would a cartel more likely kidnap? Someone who's...
Well, let's go ahead and think about that. Who are more likely to be kidnapped? Poor people. Living in poor neighborhoods without security. Now, the ones that you'll hear about are the rich people that get kidnapped and they're asking for a ransom. But statistically, you're more likely to be kidnapped if you're poor.
Rich or someone who's poor?
Poor.
I don't have to wait. I mean, Mexicans have a really hard time typing on a keyboard because their hands are covered in beans. So I'll just let you know. It's rich people. Rich people.
I mean, what the heck? Like, that's not even funny, dude. I wish this guy would go on Kill Tony. Go on Kill Tony, Owen Benjamin, you pathetic excuse for a comedian. If you're the greatest comedian, you have 60 seconds, man. You could do 60 seconds. Like, they can't type because their hands are covered in beans. That's the laziest. Oh my, that was offensive. Racism doesn't offend me. Lazy ass racist comedy offends me. Like, that's not only stupid. Oh my, dude, calm down, bro. I'm trying. Good Lord, their hands are covered in beans. Boo! Yeah, it'd be booed off the stage because of how stupid that was.
People are much more exploited. They're much more likely to be targeted for lawsuits.
Okay, so we know that for a fact that poor people are more likely to be kidnapped, human trafficking, exploited like a son of a gun right there. And so that's already a niche in the armor with what he's talking about. And that came from within the bear community.
They're much more likely to be kidnapped for ransom. They're much more likely to be lied about, slandered, mocked, and exploited.
He's talking about himself. he is clearly talking about himself. He is the rich people and everybody else is the poor people. He is the smart one, everybody else is dumb. He has said that so many times. And I'm sure, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'm trying to do a video. I'm trying to put out a video every hour for about 24 hours. I did about 4 hours worth of videos or so earlier, and that's going to, between like 12 and 3 or 12 and 4, I did, I don't know, 12, 15 videos or so. And so the last, when you're seeing this, it's going to be, I think this one's coming out at, let's see, it's going to come out at 5 o'clock in the morning. I took about 4 or 5 hours off of doing videos, hung out with the family, ate some dinner, got some stuff done. So yeah, this one's going to come out about 5:57. Anyways.
And one of the biggest groups to exploit the rich is the country of France. Poor for organs and rich for money. Oh, they're really doing the organ thing these days, huh? Wow. Yeah, that's a bummer. Well, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't try to come to America then. I'm guessing, don't they get the organs when they're trying to come to America?
Oh, this is so funny. This pathetic excuse for a human being literally trying to make the case that he is more exploited than anybody else. That's all what this is about. Whenever he said slandered and all that kind of stuff, which, I mean, rich people probably, just because who's going to slander Joe Blow down there working at the corner store, you know? So that the slander thing, just statistically, there's no motive to slander somebody else. But what this channel is about, this particular channel is about, it's not about slander. It's about calling him out on being a dangerous predatory cult leader. Because if you zoom out, that's what he is.
Or is it just when they're there? I don't know, that is a bummer. Good point, Bear for All Seasons. You poor Mexicans and your organs. I don't know about you, though, but I would not want a Mexican organ.
That's a good place to stop. This is the Texas Go Radio Show. Man. He clearly, he's just a racist SOS. Sack of. Anyways, like I said, this is the Texas Go Radio Show. As always, till next time.